Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your Rangers Review pre-match show ahead of tonight's Champions League qualifier against Panathinaikos. Chris joins us in the Ibrox press room. If you were asking where we were, folks, Chris had a bit of a I was going to say nightmare, but he was slightly delayed coming in here by the Panathinaikos team bus, Chris.
Nightmare is probably a wee bit strong. Let's see how the next 90 minutes go before we start throwing about words like nightmare. Obviously, with Albion being sold and partially shut, we're not in our usual car parking spots this year, so I am pressed now in the away car park. Got in just at the same time as the Panathinaikos team bus was doing a 85-point turn to try and get itself in the right position. Got myself out of the car park, and then the Panathinaikos fans were being escorted into the stadium by the police. So got here eventually. So straight into the press room, grabbed myself a programme, sat down, and here we are. And someone had just told me the Rangers front three for the evening as well. So let's start there, shall we?
What boy says, hate Panathinaikos even more now. Let's get the team up then, because Joshua called it bang on when we discussed our predicted lineups on the show this morning. So without much further ado, this is how Rangers will start tonight. Butland in goal. Back four of Tavernier, Giga, Suter and Aarons. A midfield trio of Rothwell, Raskin and Diamande. And that front three, well, Danilo was always going to start, but either side of him, Finlay Curtis, great opportunity for young Finlay, and Kieran Dowell. And I know that certainly sparked debate online. There are many that are not too happy about seeing him in that starting 11, but he starts in that front three. Interestingly, the Rangers substitute bench as well tonight consists of Liam Kelly, Oscar Cortes, Connor Barron, Cyril Dessers, Nadeem Bayrami, Lyle Cameron, Jeff Day, Jedi Gassama, Hamza Igaman, and Fernandez, Rice, and Gentle. So that is the Rangers starting 11. Chris, you mentioned the front three. Any major surprises for you? Certainly defensively, you look at that. Max Aarons will play at left back. You don't want to see that too much this season, but it certainly tells us that Shefty on the bench, that Russell Martin sees Aarons as a better prospect there. Ridvan not in the European squad, of course. Suter on the left-hand side, probably more likely given that he's been playing there alongside Giga in pre-season. Tavernier on the right, of course. What do you make of their starting 11?
I think it probably sums up just where the squad and where the summer window is. It's better. It's nowhere near complete. Time will tell if it's going to be good enough or not. You can look at a couple of new signings, obviously coming straight into the team. I think that's a good thing. We spoke a lot about it towards the end of last season and over the summer. It's a team and a squad that needed a big rebuild. That rebuild was never going to be completed for the 22nd of July. It was an impossible task. Slightly surprised at Dowell starting, likes of Danilo starting, but that's just circumstances. If you said that last day at Easter Road when we all packed up our laptops and headed for home and thought, let's say no more about it, if you said back then that the Champions League qualifier, your front three will be Curtis, Danilo and Dowell, you think, well, something's gone wrong there. It's not gone as well as Rangers were hoped for in the final third. Obviously, Gassama not quite there, having come into the team or having come into the squad. Dessers and Igaman having their own situations. So that front three, it will spark a lot of debate. But there's not really a lot of other options. And if you take the manager at his word when he said that Gassama's not really there, Dessers is not really there, Igaman's not really there, the only real other option is Oscar Cortes. That's rock and a hard place stuff between Cortes and Dowell, is it not? There's not exactly a standout option in there. So
no.
front three will obviously spark a lot of debate. That will get people talking. Apart from that, I think it picks itself. Midfield three, certainly with Asgard not being available, midfield three was always going to be that three. I think that was always going to be the back four. Interesting, although you mentioned Max Aarons in there at left back. Clearly, Russell Martin has come in and thought, none of these two left back options are for me. The guy who was signed primarily as a right back, the guy who's come in to challenge, perhaps even take James Tavernier's place in in stages this season. He's been moved across, played there a lot during pre-season, and Russell Martin clearly feels that Aarons is a better option there than two more established guys. Or Ridvan, nowhere to be seen. Jeffrey clearly hasn't done enough in pre-season to earn that place.
Yep, there's a comment there suggesting it's a strong bench. It is a strong-looking bench. He does have options on there. I would have liked to have seen Bayrami maybe get the nod up there, but I can totally understand why Russell Martin has opted for Kieran Dowell. He's been heavily present in the pre-season schedule thus far, and he certainly seems to be someone that is impressing Russell Martin at this point in time. I've never seen much from him, I've got to say, in the only pre-season friendly in front of supporters against Club Brugge. But let's hope that he steps up to the mark tonight, because it's another great opportunity for him to really show what he's all about. It's a fair comment, I think, to say that we haven't really seen anything of any note from him. It certainly seems like someone that's a great trainer, Chris, but the Rangers fans need to see something from this guy, don't they?
They do, and it's fair to say he's had enough chances. It's not as if you're picturing a guy and say, well, we don't really know, he's an unknown quantity. He's had injury problems, or he's just not had a chance. He's been in matchday squads enough. He's been overlooked for a lot of his Rangers career. Obviously shipped out on loan for the second half of last season as well. Kieran Dowell, I think, has had enough chances to establish himself in a Rangers jersey, and he's not done that. It would be a remarkable turnaround if he goes from a guy who you would have driven to any of the four corners of the United Kingdom just to get a transfer fee for him. If he goes from a guy in that situation to being one who is a key part of the squad, it would be quite a turnaround.
Yeah.
Long term, I still don't see it. I think once Gassama gets up to speed, that right hand spot is his. You'd imagine Rangers would be looking through another bit of business in that final third as well. I don't think you'll get 6, 7, 8 weeks down the line and Kieran Dowell is still going to be one of the first names on the team sheet. But he's there. He has to do a job tonight. It's a big game for Rangers. It's a big game for the club. It's a big game for Russell Martin, and he has to do something to contribute to what could be a really important win tonight. Yep.
Danilo obviously starting, Chris, given the fact that Cyril Dessers and Hamza Egeman just slightly behind in their pre-season preparation. The pair of them make the bench. I wouldn't be surprised to see them appear at some point, but as we touched on, it's a big night for Kieran Dowell. Likewise for Danilo, he's had his first proper pre-season where he hasn't been playing catch-up or anything like that, and by all accounts what Russell Martin's comments yesterday suggest that he's been pretty impressed with him and his work rate. Not only that, he said that of course he's helping out off the pitch with the fact he knows 5 languages, so he's been a bit of a team player, but it's the Rangers fans that want to see him lead the line with purpose, want to see him that devilment in his play, and he'll be the guy they're looking to get the goals tonight.
I was slightly surprised by the reaction. I tweeted out that comment from Russell Martin yesterday, where he said he'd been impressed by Danilo over pre-season, and he'd had that. He made a joke, if you like, of how he's been a big part of the dressing room, being able to act as a translator and help to get messages across. And a lot of people derided it and were a bit negative on it. I think it shows Danilo to be a really good guy to have in the dressing room. The fact that he's willing to do that. He's willing to put in that extra effort. He might have to stay later. He might have to arrive earlier at the training ground. He may have to do more sessions. He may have to do more work in the analysis room. If he's willing to do all that for the betterment of his teammates, for the betterment of this team, so I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. Again, you fast forward a couple of months, is he going to be the guy that's got that number 9 jersey? Probably not. Again, need to wait to see what happens with Dessers, what happens with Egeman. Rangers linked with a number of forwards. We do expect him to still add in that area, but he's the guy who's come through pre-season the best for other reasons. Dessers, Egeman, not quite there, not at the level. Danilo has been. He's got his minutes under his belt. He's got some goals. Clearly showed up well in training. So he deserves that place. It's a big night for him. It's a big chance for him. Last 2, 3 months, 4 months even of last season, he didn't really get the opportunities that he needed. And we spoke about it on the brief a number of times of when's he going to get his chance? Is this the end of him? If he doesn't play X number of games or score X number of goals, it's probably looking like he'll be out the door. that's not been the case so far. He's finally got this chance, and so fingers crossed he can make the most of it.
I'm excited seeing Finlay Curtis. I think fair play to him and Russell Martin for sticking him in. He was the best player in the Bruges game, quite rightly named man of the match. So let's hope we can have another really impressive showing tonight. So very much looking forward to seeing him. Likewise, Joe Rothwell, who we haven't seen yet, Chris, but he will be playing in that number 6 position, allowing Raskin and Diamandi to sort of operate just slightly further forward. That midfield will be big tonight. I quite like the look of that. Certainly on paper, it looks like a decent midfield trio, that one.
I think we could be sitting in a few months' time saying Rothwell is one of the most important signings that Russell Martin has made. I think he's got all the attributes to be a really, really key player in this side. You think of the way that Martin wants this side to operate. He needs that midfield 3 to be able to do their jobs effectively. Rothwell in that slightly deeper role. A lot of the play is going to go through him. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him to be able to take the ball in tighter areas, to be able to play at the tempo that the manager wants it to be played at, and to be able to turn defence into attack really quickly. I think there's going to be a lot, and also a lot on his set piece ability. That was one of the things that was highlighted when he signed. Interesting to see who takes the first handful of corners and who gets first dibs on the free kicks tonight. Given that both him and James Daveney are on the pitch at the same time. But I think he could be a really important part of this side. Like you, I like that midfield 3. It's a shame that Asgard isn't there to be able to add into it and even provide an option off the bench. But you have to say that if you look at that bench with, of course, Cortez on there as well, there's a bit of pace, there's a bit of guile. There should be goals if Rangers need it, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. And the 11 that also Martin has picked can go out and get the job done and give themselves something to take into that second leg next week.
Yep, the Panathinaikos team lining up in a 4-3-3. They go with Dragovski as a goalkeeper, then Vagianidis at right back, Palmer, Brown and Tuba, the 2 centre halves. Kyriakopoulos is a left back. At midfield 3 of Bakasetas, Chiravela and Maximovic, with a front 3 of Palestri, Yanidis, who £1 million bid this summer that was turned down, according to Greek reports, and Djurdjic is their player on the left. So they've got decent players in there, but I don't think Rangers should be overawed by their opponents tonight. I very much think it'll be a tight game, not only tonight, but I suspect next week as well. Chris, how do you see that going this evening, and how important is it that Rangers take a decent result over to Greece next week?
I don't think I've ever been as glad that you're the man in the hosting chair and you're reading out the opposition team list. You did a remarkable job there. You've been standing in front of that mirror, practicing that all day, I'm sure. I think it's been interesting the last few weeks, seeing a lot of Rangers fans get talk up Panathinaikos and almost get downplay Rangers' chances in this time. I think, yes, it's a difficult one. It's not the one that you would have picked out the hat, but it's a side that finished a long way behind Olympiacos. Rangers must have had a good crack at them last season. They are, in effect, a mid-table Conference League side. If you look at the European record of late, they've not been in the Champions League for a long time either. They don't have some of the excuses that the Rangers have for their absence from that stage over the last 14, 15 years or so. So I think they should be an accomplished side, but Rangers have beaten far better than Panathinaikos over the years. The difference is, can the Russell Martin style and the Russell Martin approach, does that translate to European football? I think that's one of the big questions, not just for this game, for this entire European campaign, at whatever level it's going to be, whatever competition it's going to be. Does he have the ability to set out a side to be successful in Europe, like we've seen, like Barry did in Fenerbahce, for example, like Clement, to his credit, did at times, like Gerrard did, like Gio did? Yeah. Does Russell Martin have that within his tactical armoury? Time will tell. So there's a number of these players that have performed on this stage before. I think Rangers should be favourites tonight. I think they should go in and win the game. If they do win the game, it gives them a really good chance heading into that second leg. It's going to be a bit hot sweaty over there next week. It's going to be it's a bit on the toasty side. It has to be said. I don't think that we usually think of Greek sides being this kind of welcome to hell type atmosphere. I don't think Rangers can expect that next week. So if they do the job tonight, if they can take a lead over there, you would then back them to get that job finished. And as we saw from the draw yesterday, a real incentive there now. That road to the playoffs potentially opening up a wee bit.
Yes, love this. Stuart says, listening live from my seat in the main stand. Let's go, Gers. Absolutely superb, Stuart. Hopefully it's an enjoyable evening for you and the thousands that are inside Ibrox tonight. That team again then: Butland, Tavernier, Giga, Suter, Aarons, Rothwell, Raskin, Diamandi, Curtis, Dill, Danilo. The Rangers bench tonight consisting of Liam Kelly in goal, substitute goalkeeper. He is alongside Cortez, Barron, Dessers, Bayrami, Cameron, Jeffy, Gassama, Igaman, Fernandez, Royce, and Gentles. We will be back. Myself, Joshua, who's also in Ibrox tonight, and I think Johnny might be joining as well shortly after full time, folks. So we'll be with you with a post-match reaction video while Chris goes down and gets his thoughts off. Hopefully, a happy Russell Martin after tonight's game. I've got no idea what to expect tonight, Chris. I'm just hoping that Rangers can manage to take some sort of victory over to Greece. I'm going to go 2-1 tonight to Rangers. What's your prediction?
I'll be even more confident than you, and I'll say 2-0. There we go.
Wow.
Happy to be proven and shot down over the next 90 minutes, as always. But let's go for Rangers to go off to a winning start.
Yeah, bite your hand off for a 2-0 right now. Right, folks, hopefully you enjoyed a little pre-match show there. We will be back with you in a couple of hours or so, and we'll speak to you again then. Hopefully your team wins. Bye for now.